Detroit's muscle cars have experienced a renaissance of sorts lately. Hellcats, Shelbys, and Camaros. Oh my exclamation mark, yet it took some European-inspired refinement to bring the most out of Dearborn's Ford Mustang. Heavily updated for 2015, which included the mainstream model's first ever independent rear suspension, the latest Mustang GT snagged the 10 Best Cars award upon its debut and then bested the Dodge Challenger RT Scat Pack and previous gen Chevrolet Camaro SS1 in its first comparison test. Now we welcome this sinister-looking 2016 GT Coupe into our paddock for a 40,000-mile shakedown. The latest Mustang is an altogether more sophisticated thing than its predecessors, which is key for its new global mission. The ride is more comfortable and composed with the multi-link rear suspension, which itself dictated a new tuning approach for the front strut setup. And the interior is more insulated and better turned out, even if the fast rear glass means back seat occupants will need to remove their heads before entering. Additional electronic aids, including adaptive cruise control and blind spot warning, are now available, as is a 2.3-litre EcoBoost turbocharged 4-cylinder. The car's proportions are softer and more flowing than before, and the styling adopts much of Ford's corporate look while still recalling Mustang's past. Updates for 2016 are limited to the addition of Ford's much improved Sync 3 infotainment tech on premium models, along with secondary, and nearly invisible, turn signals integrated into the GT's hood vents. You can read our official breakdown of the 2016 Mustang here, as well as an in-depth interview with Ford's development team here. But the most important thing about our test car is what makes it a GT, the 5.0-litre Coyote V8, which develops a throaty 435 horsepower and 400 lb-ft of torque, up from the previous generation GT's 420 and 390. It's not as wicked as the new Shelby GT 350's 5.2-litre flat-crank V8, but the Coyote loves to rev and is an absolute hoot when paired with the standard 6-speed manual gearbox, which is light in effort and snicks tightly through the gates. Performance figures from our test car's initial visit to the track after its break-in period were strong and slightly quicker than our long-term 2013 Mustang GTs, with a 0-60 mph time of 4.3 seconds and a quarter-mile pass of 12.9 at 112 miles per hour, pricing at Boney while base GT fastbacks start at $33,295. Our premium coupe in shadow black stickered at $37,295 before options and features a host of trim and equipment upgrades, brighter interior accents, dual-zone automatic climate control, heated and cooled leather front seats, a 9-speaker stereo, selectable driving modes, ambient lighting, aluminium pedals, illuminated sill plates, heated exterior mirrors with integrated turn signals and pony pedal lights, a painted rear diffuser, and unique 19 and 20-inch wheel options. That's on top of the Mustang's standard automatic headlights, sequential LED taillights, 8 airbags, and the GT's track apps and line lock burnout software. Also available on premium versions is an upgraded Shaker audio system, voice-activated navigation, and the aforementioned driver aids. We passed on all of that but did opt for the $1,595 black leather Recaro sport seats, which are snug-fitting and lack the heating and cooling of the standard chairs. They also provide the driver with the necessary support to exploit our car's other option, the $2,495 GT Performance Package. That bundles larger, 6-piston Brembo front brakes, a 3.73-to-1 rear axle ratio with a Torsen limited slip differential, a stiffer suspension setup, a larger radiator, chassis and stroller braces, unique tuning for the electrically assisted steering and stability control, and black-painted 19-inch wheels with Biley P0 Summit tires, size 25,540 in front and 27,540 at the rear. The bottom line, $41,290. Initial impressions at the limit. Our GT does have a moderate sense of understeer in corners, what with 54% of its 3,782 pounds residing over the front axle. But that can be easily corrected with a stab of the throttle. Our test car still managed a healthy 0.94 grams of lateral grip on the skid pad, and the additional traction from the sticky wireless kept panic stops from 70 miles per hour to just 156 feet. The Mustang steering isn't super quick at 2.6 turns lock-toe lock, yet it is precise and natural enough in feel to make you think it's hydraulically assisted. Steering effort can be adjusted from light to heavy by a toggle on the center stack or via the adjacent switch that cycles through the selectable normal, sport plus, track, and snow wet drive modes, which also affect the engine response and stability control. With less than 2,500 miles on the odometer, we're still getting used to our long-termer and have yet to take it any distance from home. And the mileage accumulation definitely will take a hit soon as the Michigan winter begins in earnest. To prepare, we've put the Mustang on a set of Bridgestone Blitzak LM32 winter tires. We have yet to encounter any technical or service issues with the car, but there have been a few complaints about the limited range 260 miles from the smallish 16-gallon fuel tank, and our test cars observed 16 miles per gallon in the real world, well below the EPA's combined rating of 19 miles per gallon. The other gripe concerns the latest GT's muffled exhaust note, which lends it a more civilized attitude at the expense of some of its rowdy character. It still has a pleasant growl, but this is a muscle car with a great V8 engine, and it deserves to be heard. You likely can plan on us asking for a Ford Performance exhaust or a set of exhaust cutouts like those on the old Boss 302 for the holidays. What we like, we've gone nearly 8,000 miles since our first report on this long-term test of the 2016 Ford Mustang GT and have grown much more comfortable with the latest pony car's redesign and greater level of refinement. Our Coupe has acquitted itself well as a reliable commuter vehicle in all types of weather. And even with the optional Recaro sport seats and the short, 3.73:1 fine algae ratio included in our test car's performance package, long-distance comfort has been impressive for front seat occupants. Several longer highway journeys have helped our GT's average fuel economy rise to 19 miles per gallon, the same as the EPA's combined rating. We're still delighted with the 5.0-litre Coyote V8's 435 horsepower and burbly exhaust, as well as the continued compliments we receive for the car's menacing, blackhead-out appearance. The new Sync 3 system in the Mustang is a huge improvement over the previous My Ford Touch interface that we had so many issues with over the years. Its large, bright graphics, simpler menus, and greater connectivity make it much easier to use. What we don't like, few drivers have complained about the new Mustang's qualities, aside from not being able to enjoy the car more due to winter weather and the necessary fitment of Bridgestone Blitzak LM32 winter tires. Although ultra-supportive, the Recaro seats have drawn the loudest gripes, perhaps also because of the climate near our HQ. The seats' slack heating elements and their thick side bolsters can limit movement, particularly when shifting the 6-speed manual while wearing a bulky coat. That said, the thrones have excellent lumbar support, and even our largest front passengers have praised their comfort over long hauls. Despite our GT's average range creeping up to more than 300 miles on a tank, it's still incredibly easy to drain the Mustang's 16-gallon supply in city driving. Other minor quibbles center around cabin ergonomics, such as the engine ignition button on the console being too easy to hit by accident. Yes, that happened. The map pockets extend deep into the door panels, which is great until you lose track of an item and can't see it hiding down there. What went wrong, aside from the V8 needing a top-up with a quart of synthetic oil at 4,100 miles, zilch. The Mustang was shrugged off Michigan's cratered roads with ease, and its first service, a scheduled 10,000-mile job, included an oil and filter change and inspection for a mere $42. Where we went, due to its short range and mostly useless back seat, the majority of our long-termers travel has been confined to schlepping around Metro Detroit as a commuter. Its longer treks have taken it to Indiana, Chicago, and Frankenmuth in central Michigan, with the latter two trips testing the Mustang's winter metal as it capably handled whiteout snow squalls and icy roads with little issue. As the weather gets warmer, the Mustang is likely to travel farther afield. What we like, approaching the midway point of our long-term Ford Mustang's 40,000-mile review, the 2016 GT continues to largely please drivers with its revamped 435 horsepower 5.0-litre V8 and sinister, blackhead-out mean. Its Bristone Blitzsack winter tyres are long gone, and the return of 0.94 grams of lateral grip from the Biley P0 summer rubber means we are back to tearing up country roads and highway interchanges. Despite its more civilized, global design, the latest Mustang still feels all-American at heart, including one of our favored characteristics, the sloping fastback roofline that evokes that of the first-generation Mustang from the mid-1960s. It is an excellent way to get an instant pick-me-up. Additional long-distance travel also has boosted our average fuel economy to 20 miles per gallon, which is 1 mile per gallon better than the EPA's combined rating and sufficient for 320 miles of range on the open road. What we don't like, the arrival of our long-term 2016 Chevrolet Camaro SS, however, has brought with it an alternative pony cull lens through which to view the Mustang. The Chevy's wicked dual-mode exhaust makes us wish even more that we could hear the full voice of the Ford's heavily muffled Coyote V8. Both cars have comically small back seats, but our Mustang's front chairs continue to elicit gripes about their confining side bolsters, which can impede smooth shifting of the 6-speed manual transmission. Logbook comments have called out the GT's brakes for being too grabby on initial application, particularly when they're cold. And while Ford's new Sync 3 infotainment system is vastly simpler to use than was the previous My Ford Touch, it's a little too basic for some after exposure to the Chevy MyLink system in our better-equipped 2LT Camaro. The Mustang's greatest demerit is centered on its manual shifter, which can often feel notchy in lower gears. It's not helped by the short 3.73-to-1 gearing of our GT's optional performance package. Several drivers have found it difficult to smoothly and quickly work through the lower ratios around town, where clunks from the drivetrain can be heard as each gear is selected. Our local Ford dealer inspected the shifter and the gearbox for problems but deemed it to be working normally. What went wrong, aside from lingering suspicions regarding the shifter's well-being and a scheduled dealer visit for its 20,000-mile service, $82.85 for an oil and filter change, inspection, tire rotation, and a new cabin air filter, our Mustang's largest issue since our last update has been Michigan's apocalyptic roads. Specifically, a large pothole attempted to swallow the left rear tire on our commute. The damage was severe, with the impact driving the shock absorber shaft up through the shock and its upper mount and even denting the fuel filler tube above that. We limped the GT to the dealer to have all those damaged components replaced and the suspension realigned. Surprisingly, all four wheels and tires survived. Repairs took less than a week, after which the dealer relieved us of $732.32. Where we went, while our long-termer is still primarily a commuter within southeastern Michigan, in the past 10,000 miles it has made treks to Ohio, Indiana, and the Kentucky. Its latest voyage was to Virginia International Raceway to support our annual Lightning Lap Track Fest, at the conclusion of which road test editor Chris Benn contemplated trading with another editor to drive the long-term Camaro SS back to Ann Arbor instead of the Mustang. Despite the shifter and the funky recars, he ultimately decided the GT was the more comfortable travel companion for the long trip home, proving that many of us still have lots of love for Ford's latest pony car.
Bye.